Hey, what's up? This is Isaac Slade from the Fray, and you are at Popularity.
When you're writing songs for a new album, do you take past successes and failures into consideration? Does that factor into the process at all? And not necessarily like a failure, like like we released a song and we don't think it did as well as it should have,
Yeah.
but just in like the creative process, like you kind of hit a wall and you're like, no, I don't like that. Do you ever go back,
Thanks.
try things again like that?
Yeah. I mean, like whenever you write anything, you're doing it after something else you've done. You know, I heard a quote from Elton John actually that he feels like Michael Jackson was haunted by Thriller, because it was his most successful record, and he couldn't just accept that that was the biggest he was ever going to be. He tried to beat it all the time. And maybe that's not true, but it sure looks like that, Like he sort of began the descent somewhere in the 90s where he couldn't get that going again. And I think there's a beauty in accepting your moment, And I'm not, you can't really tell what your moment is until after the fact. So really just, to me, it means every single song I've written from when I was 16 till now. I remember sitting down when I was 16 thinking, like, I don't want to suck at this. I want to write the best song I could possibly write. And I did. I tried to write as good as I could. I only knew 4 chords, and my words were all like churchy, religious-y and stuff. But it was literally the best song I could write. And I wrote a song a month ago, and it was still the best song I could possibly write. I'd like to think it's better than the song I wrote when I was 16. But that's about all that it gets in.
With the success that you've achieved now, how do you approach a new album with that in mind?
Well, like I said, if you fixate on what you've done and how to make it bigger, I think you just make compromises you never would make otherwise. Like you make it simpler, or you make it like more watered down or something, so that more people buy it. So we tried really hard to stick with the songs themselves and the stories we wanted to tell, and really let the business people take care of all the business.
What would you say is the strangest place that you found inspiration when creating this album?
For this album? Strangest place. I was going to a party. It sounds very exotic, but I was driving on the wrong side of the road, going to a party in Cape Town, trying to make it there in time, and I was all pissed off and late and stuck in traffic, and I kept taking the wrong turn because I couldn't keep the car on the road barely, let alone find the party I was going to. Stick shift on the wrong side, the clutch and the brake are all backwards. And I was in South Africa to write, and I hadn't been writing that much, so I felt guilty. And I got stuck behind this big flatbed truck with all these like construction workers that had just gotten off work. It was pouring rain and kind of miserable outside, and they were just like sitting in the back drinking, hanging out, enjoying the time. And I busted out my phone and I sang the first verse of Heartbeat, stuck in traffic.
How much do you write songs with the idea of how they're also going to sound live?
A lot now. We didn't think about that at all for our first record. I remember thinking, this is for headphones and a car, basically, if you do buy the CD and put it in your car. And then we started playing it live, and I realized that we're going to have to actually play these songs for people, and it freaked me out. We made such a little, small, tight sound on the record, that first one. The second one was the first time we really started making these songs with the live performance in mind. And we tried a bunch of things. We tried some really like heavy sounding songs on that second record that ended up being too slow. They sound intense on the record, but they just get kind of draggy live. And then some really like up songs that feel kind of shallow live. So the third record, the one we just did, feels like the mix of the two, where there's like, it's like the right amount of lyrical depth, but still enough momentum to keep the car going.
Do you think that you guys are going to be surprising any fans on this tour with the show? Do you guys do anything differently, or?
I've been playing accordion and electric guitar. So if that isn't surprising, I don't know what will.
When you went back to actually listen to the songs on the album, did any of the songs surprise you in either a good or a bad way?
There's a song called Be Still that I wrote. Yeah, I wrote it in really fast, like in 3 hours, and I never write songs that fast. I'm like a 2 years kind of guy. Write it, think about it, read a book about it, and then research it and write again and try 3 different versions and overthink it and scrap it all and then start over. And, Be Still came so fast. And I recorded it once, and the guys said they liked it and I should do it again. So I recorded the second take of it, and then we just kind of shelved it and didn't think about it. And then I got to the end of the recording process, and we listened to it again, and it just felt important, like a lullaby that people need. Because the world has a hard time sleeping, so we put it on there to help them instead of taking Ambien.
Do you find that when you perform songs that they evolve and change, these songs grow the more that you play them?
I don't know. We certainly get tired of them, playing them a certain way, so we rearrange them and slow them down or speed them up, or just do them stripped down, or take a stripped down song and add a bunch to it or something. So I guess you could say they evolve, but they really just get tired.
How do you feel about discussing what a song is actually about? Would you rather have your fans interpret them for themselves?
I don't really care what Springsteen meant it about. I really just connect to it or I don't. So I like leaving it a little vague.
To you, do you feel that this album is a continuation or a reaction to the last?
Neither. I think the second record was a continuation of the first. This feels like a brand new book, a whole different statement. I was afraid to try all the way on that second one. Because if you don't try all the way and then it bombs, you can always say, like, I could have been huge, you know. And I think we realized on this third one, you have to push the limit as far as you can if you really want to make it better. So I don't think it was a reaction so much as a brand new thing.
Do you find it hard to know when you're on to something good? Do you need feedback to be able to tell?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's artists like how I imagine Nine Inch Nails is, or maybe Tom York or somebody, where they see the whole song before they record it, and then it's an effort of like getting it out. And I've never really felt like I'm good at that. I think my skill set is more of a like conversation starter. And I get the ball rolling with an idea, or Joe has an idea, and we bring it to the other guys, and then the four of us kind of hash out a rough framework of what it is. But a lot of times you have to listen to other people. If you're playing your heart out and there's just nothing going on, then either they don't see it yet, or you don't have anything. Sometimes I've played like rough demos for people, and they're like, the whole room is silent, and I know I got something good.
Do you find it hard to listen to music as a fan, the musician you're hearing? Do you find that you're more critical?
Yeah, I'm a jackass with that stuff. I think there are some shitty lyrics out there that people write in 10 minutes and it sells because it's got Rihanna on it or something. God bless Rihanna, but I wish some people had spent some more time on the lyrics. I really like photography. Maybe for that reason, actually, because there's no music, there's no lyrics, there's no audio. It's all in that immediate sort of instant reaction of that photographer and that subject in the light. And it's kind of the opposite of what I do. So I connect a lot more with the photo than the song.
What makes a good lyric?
I don't know what makes a good lyric. I know what makes a lyric that I connect to. It needs to have tension in it, I think. It can't just be a sad song about a sad lyric, or like a happy thing about, I have a really hard time with Colby Calais or Jack Johnson or something, where it's like, it just feels like Jimmy Buffett. It feels like great. There's like no tension in that for me. And that's not to say they're not good, and I just don't connect to them. The stuff I connect to is like you can hear the guy bleeding. You know, you can almost hear him trying to figure out which way is north and being totally lost. I think that's why Pearl Jam or Radiohead or even like new stuff that's been coming out last 5 years, like there's still a tension in there that they're trying to wrestle with. Like, yes, there's bad in the world, but there's good as well. How to live from that, I love that. And I'm a sucker for a good beat, so I like Rihanna.
And any final thoughts, anything to say to the readers of popularity?
Yeah, I feel like I've been through an identity crisis in public, which is always hard. I wish I could have done it behind closed doors, but our second record didn't have a name. We didn't really even know what to call it. I feel like we didn't know who we were either. We were trying to be like the anti-Coldplay because so many people compared us to that. And then we were trying to be U2, but not let anybody know that we were trying to be U2 because everybody said we wanted to be U2. And it felt like junior high. Like, when you're 13 or 14, you just don't know who the hell you are. So you're afraid to really own up to it because then they'll find you out. And somewhere probably a year and a half into that second record, it occurred to me that I was never going to make everybody happy, and I just stopped trying. And it was scary because I found so much value and comfort and worth from that, from having everybody sort of approve, which nobody ever did, but the psychology of imagining that they did sort of crippled me, and I felt like I was looking back, I was like a puppet or something. Like I danced by committee. Like I'd raise my hand, and if anybody clapped, I'd keep it up there. If they didn't clap, I'd put it down, raise my leg, and see if they clapped for that. And it was just this wonky, sort of awkward dance that I did, artistically and creatively and personally. So maybe it was getting older. Maybe it was kind of getting the end of the rope. But I just stopped, and it's great. Like, I broke out of my shell a little bit, figured out who I am apart from the band, apart from my marriage, apart from friendships, apart from everything. And then I could come back to it with all of who I was, rather than sort of needing my value out of it. So if it's any consolation, I think I'm enjoying this so much more than I used to. Even interviews, I used to think I could answer it this way, but what would they say? I could answer it that way, maybe they would like me more or something. And now it's like, fuck it, man. I have a couple things to say, I'm going to say them, and they can write whatever the hell they want.